Devin, it's really exciting to sit down with you here in beautiful Clarkston, Michigan, where you are planting Redemption Story Church. Like how old is Redemption Story Church as of this recording?
5 weeks.
And how old is your youngest child?
5 weeks.
That was really good planning.
Yeah, it wasn't my planning. It's the Lord's planning.
So when you were thinking first about church planting, what was the thing, like the catalyst that caused you to say, yeah, I think I want to plant a church?
Well, I grew up in a church planting church. And in the 1980s, my lead pastor became a believer at Michigan State's campus, actually. And he had a desire to plant a church that planted churches. And before he retired, he turned to me and he said, I'd love for you to plant a church. And I said no. And so it took about 5 years for me to see that there is need for another church. I caught that burden and God pulled me towards this.
So why, of all places, did you pick Clarkston?
Clarkston is my home. I live on the border in Waterford, and these two cities together are kind of like sisters. But Clarkston has been home for my family for generations. My parents were married under this gazebo. My family still lives in this area. And my wife, Nikki, always had a heart for Clarkston. So we had a heart to invite our neighbors and our family and our friends to a new church and to hear the gospel. The other part of it is there are, in the 10-mile radius of this city, 100,000 people who do not belong to a gospel-believing church.
Now, you said that when you first thought about church planting, you said no.
Yes.
Like, what was it that was keeping you from saying yes?
Absolutely fear. And I loved my church. I love the church that's sending me, and I never saw myself leaving. I was discipled there, I found my wife there, I had my kids there, and I just never saw myself going anywhere else. And so when I was first told you should do this, the fear of my friends and my family not coming with me was very scary as well.
So what was the thing that kind of caused you to then say yes? Like what broke you out of that fear?
Well, I am still afraid. Still afraid. During COVID, our church went through a lot and our church ended up growing. And so we did a survey of the church body. Should we expand our building? And the data came back and our church ended up saying overwhelmingly, no, we need to plant another church. We need to expand out. And so we went back to our elders and we talked together. We decided we want to plant a church. And I really prayed over that. And my wife really encouraged me towards that. And she said, I'm totally behind that. And I think that's what we should do. And so through a lot of prayer, we moved forward, but we're still afraid.
So what would you say to somebody who's listening to this and they're thinking, man, I sense the same kind of compulsion to want to plant, but I just don't want to do it. Like, I'm afraid. Like, what would you say to that person?
Wrestle with the Lord with that fear, but don't let fear be the answer of not doing it. The need is so high for more churches to be planted. Something that really spoke to me is that we were made for this day and the day was made for us, and that no one else is going to do it. If not you, then who? If not now, then when? And that idea that the Lord has put me here and he's put people before me to disciple me and prepare me for this. If God's done that for you, then God's calling you into something, and to really listen to that. Pray that we'd be faithful with the people who are in our church, that we'd be making disciples, and that we would be multiplying disciples. And so we would really like to not share sheep with other churches. We want to bring people who are de-churched, non-churched, unbelievers to come in and experience the gospel and to make it an anchor for their lives in the culture of the kingdom here. So pray for that, and pray that we would catch the burden together over and over again to keep planting churches and to send people out into the work.
What are a few of the things that influenced you as you were going through this process of deciding whether or not you were going to plant a church?
I would say the process of that started when I was being discipled as a young teenager, and I met you in 2004, actually, when I was 14 years old, and going to a summer camp and hearing the gospel be presented, and I got to know a few years later about Acts 29, and that being partnered with coming from a church that's already a church planting church, it felt like a marriage of something I was passionate about, that my family was passionate about. And so I feel like that was a huge influence. You were a huge influence in my life as well. So all of those things coming together prepared me for this moment.